Hello everyone, Heather here with Astrology with Heather.com, and I am back with another super exciting weekly forecast, and this one is for Monday, November 11th all the way through to Sunday, November 17th of 2019. And this week is actually really positive in terms of the energy. We have Mercury Cazimi at the start of the week on Monday, which means that we're going to have a moment of clarity to cut through some of the fog and confusion and miscommunication that typically comes up during the Mercury retrograde period. And so this is a time where Mercury is thought to be elevated at the seat of the sun, where the energy of Mercury is expressed in its highest, most powerful way. Of course, we have to take into account on Monday morning here in the United States, at least, for the Mercury retrograde energy as a part of this Cazimi formation. But, that being said, this is a really great time for introspection and for gaining deeper insight into problems that we've been revisiting and rehashing and trying to understand, and things that we've been reviewing, revising, re-editing throughout this Mercury retrograde. So this is a really great time to get clarity on problems that have been coming up for us, issues that have arisen since Mercury has stationed to go retrograde, and even sometime before that. And this is a really great time for important communications if you have to engage in some sort of communication about something that you want it to go well, and it's important to you in some way. Monday morning around, what time will it be? 8:22 a.m. Mountain Time, about an hour before, an hour after, maybe 2 hours maximum. You're going to have this point of clarity where if it's something that you're revisiting from the past in terms of an important communication, you can carry it out, follow through with whatever it is that you need to accomplish at that time. And it's more likely to be well understood, well received. You're going to be a lot more easily able to get your point across in the way that you would like it to get across. And if that's not what you're really going for this week, if you're looking for answers, this is a really important time where you can sit, reflect. I love if it's during a time when, I'm awake, like it will be on Monday. My favorite thing to do during Mercury Cazimi when it's retrograde is to sit in reflection and in meditation and just see what comes to you. Contemplate, a specific question or something that has been really bothering you or weighing on your mind. And especially in the sign of Scorpio, you'll be able to get down to the core truth that's underlying the issue, so that way you can resolve whatever needs to be resolved, especially once Mercury moves forward, after the 20th of November of this month. And so that's what we're starting out this week with. And then right after that on Tuesday, we have a super powerful full moon in the sign of Taurus. Super early in the morning is when this is coming exact here in the United States. So this is really going to be a powerful energy that you're going to be feeling Monday, Tuesday, and even into Wednesday. And this is a beautiful full moon, you guys. This is one of the nicest full moons this year. There was another one a couple months back that was pretty good, but this is, the moon in its exaltation in the sign of Taurus. This is where we get grounded, where we can take the insights that we've been mulling over and gaining and revisiting throughout this Mercury retrograde and turn them into something, bring something to fruition. This is where, we feel a lot better, and where we can enjoy some of the more sensory experiences in our lives. Maybe we've been focusing a little bit more on the mental and intuitive realms with Mercury retrograde in the sign of Scorpio, and all of this Scorpio energy causing us to dig deep, to go to go inside a little bit more, as opposed to focusing on the external reality. And so what this full moon does is it brings us into the now. It brings us into the present moment, so we can focus on what's going on right here, right now. This is a really great time to practice mindfulness, to pay attention to the sights, the smells, the sensory experience, and what's going on right now in reality, as opposed to, ruminating and thinking and pondering things, and maybe with some of the Neptunian energy we've had the past couple of weeks floating off into the ethers a little bit. This is where we're focusing on material concerns and what's going on in the present. And this is going to be experienced quite positively for people who have had a lot of difficulty with that Pluto-Saturn conjunction in the South Node in Capricorn, because this full moon will actually be in a really nice trine with Pluto and Saturn in the sign of Capricorn. And so a lot of the area where we've been experiencing a lot of oppression, where we've been having to go inward and do a lot of really hard work to deconstruct a certain area of our lives, to let go of old oppressive energies and oppressive circumstances in our lives. We'll actually, if we've been putting in the work, we'll start to see very easily some of the results of those efforts this week because of this really nice trine to Pluto and Saturn. And so it brings us into this state of, I don't want to say being more receptive, because I don't think that that's quite the right way to put it, but it brings us to this point of manifestation where we start to see why all of this is happening, why we've had to put in all of this effort and all of this hard work, why these challenges even came about, and we might actually see some real physical, tangible, material results of what we've been trying to transform and change in that area. And so that's going to be part of this energy as well. And so it's going to feel pretty uplifting, I would say, for most people. I mean, this is a really nice energy. And so that's really what's going on here. I mean, we're going to have some more Neptunian energy toward the middle and end of this week. We're going to have Mercury in a really nice trine with Neptune. We're going to have Venus in square with Neptune, which will feel good, but might be a little overpowering. And speaking of Neptune, you guys, there's only 2 weeks left as of today to register in advance for my Mastering Neptune webinar, which will be live on November 23rd, where we're going to be going really deep into Neptune. And in honor of this really nice, beautiful full moon energy that's coming on Tuesday, I'm actually going to be doing some contests on my social media over on Instagram. My handle is @Astrology with Heather, and on Facebook, my Facebook page, of course, is also called Astrology with Heather. You can find the links for those down in the description below, and where I'm going to be giving you guys some charts and some clues so you can guess whose celebrity charts these are, and if you guess right, you'll get a chance to win a free Mastering Neptune webinar or the entire Mastering the Outer Planets series. I thought that this would be a good little thing to do with this full moon energy, because it just felt like a really happy, nice energy, and a nice energy for giving back to you all. So so you can hop on over to my social media to find that. And I'm working on some new content for my my monthly astrology newsletter, and if you sign up for the monthly astrology newsletter, you also get a discount code for 10% off any of my webinars, including the Neptune webinar and Mastering the Outer Planets series. So you can sign up for that down in the description below, and you'll get this little free PDF booklet that I'm creating for you guys. Hopefully it'll be ready just in time for Mercury to go direct if all goes according to plan. But you know, Mercury retrograde, it might take a little bit longer, but you know, soon, you guys, soon. So I'm making something really, really fun for you guys there. And I mean, those are really my only announcements. The foundational astrology video course is still available at a discounted rate for 2 more weeks. And if you are a Sagittarius sun sign, your sun sign forecast is now available. And we're going to be moving into Sagittarius season sooner than you think. So, you know, you want to go into it prepared if you're about to have your birthday. That's pretty much it for the announcements this week. And this is looking to be a really, really nice energy. So hopefully you guys will appreciate the break. You know, it's not, again, a good energy for launching into something new necessarily, but revisiting old projects, just like what I'm doing with the PDF that I'm creating for you guys. The little booklet that I'm creating for you guys is actually something that I started like last year around this time, and then I just kind of got really busy and forgot about it. So I brought out all of my notes, I'm synergizing all of the information and actually just packaging it and giving it to you guys like I originally intended. So things like that can happen this week, and they can happen a lot more easily for you. If there's something you need to revisit, if there are loose ends you need to tie up, you can do that, and you can see results pretty quickly and easily with that energy. And so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning with Aries and Aries rising. Let me get my little poorly drawn astrology wheel. I need to get Ksenia's astrology wheel hanging up here, or on a stand on this side probably. If anybody has any ideas of how to prop that up, let me know, because I haven't figured out anything that works well, that's not too bulky for my small setup right now. I'll be moving into a bigger space in a few months, hopefully, once the renovations are done. But yeah, anyway, I'm trying to get it set up because I have this really beautiful astrology wheel that Ksenia made for me, and I've been wanting to display it. I've had it for like 6 months now, and it's just because the space is kind of awkward for it. I haven't found a good way to do it. And it'll be prettier to look at than these squiggles that I draw that are not very fancy. All right, so anyway, for Aries and for Aries rising, this full moon energy is happening in your second house, which is the house of finances. You might have been going through this process of revisiting and having to go back and look at issues involving joint finances, debt, taxes, inheritance, other people's resources with this Mercury retrograde energy, which is going to be, the Cazimi point will happen actually in that 8th house. So Monday morning, if you have the time to do so, if you've been, dwelling on certain issues around joint finances or financial problems in general, now's a time where you can really sit and receive the insight that you're really searching for that can help you to make the right decisions moving forward. And, with this full moon energy, it's even more so, because this full moon is going to bring you out of sort of this dark, deep, contemplative, introspective space where you're looking at deep psychological issues, where you're going back and reflecting on things in terms of their psychological and maybe more deep subconscious impact. You've maybe been focusing on researching something really heavily, getting to the bottom of things, especially on a personal level, but just kind of in general. Or you might have been really tied up focusing on things involving debt, power, and control issues in your life, obsessions and compulsions, and maybe letting go of old habits. Those types of things might be coming up for you right now. But regardless of what it is that you've been focusing on in this 8th house area, maybe a combination of all of these things, you're going to be pulled out of that this week, especially at the start of this week, to focus more on the material, the sensory experience, the here and the now, enjoying the material pleasures in your life, enjoying your resources. Maybe this is where you get some sort of bonus or some money comes to fruition from all of the hard work and effort that you've been putting into restructuring the area of career and public reputation. You might have been having a more difficult time lately in your career or in your job, or with people in positions of power in your life. And now you get to sort of reap the benefits of having to stick it out, or refocus your energy, or transform something in that area in order to release some sort of oppressive, really burdensome energy. And so if you've been working really hard when it comes to your career, as a lot of you probably have been, now's the time where you get to see some financial benefits, or an important purchase or an important development related to your resources can come about for you this week a lot more easily. All right, and for Taurus and for Taurus rising. So for you guys, this full moon is in your sign. So especially for those who have Taurus, sun, moon, or rising around that 19th degree, you've probably been dwelling a lot on past relationships or past issues in relationships. Maybe you've been working on renegotiating some sort of contract or agreement, or changing the dynamic in an important relationship, or revisiting old issues in an important relationship in order to work through them a lot more effectively moving forward. There's just a lot of energy around connections and relationship right now. And so whatever it is you've been pondering, whatever it is that's been bothering you in that area, Monday morning's a really great time to have those important conversations with your partner, or somebody that you really care about, that you've been needing to talk to or revisit something with. And it'll go a lot more smoothly. And even if you don't actually have the conversation, sitting and reflecting on, what you want out of your relationships could be a really great way to use this energy as well. And the full moon will be happening in your sign. And so again, anyone who is really close to that 19th degree, I would say with this one, anywhere from 15 to 23 degrees will be feeling this really strongly. Maybe even a little bit more than that, because this is a powerful, really positive full moon energy. And the moon is exalted in your sign, so this is a time where you're going to feel really good, where you can get a lot of recognition, where your hard work and efforts that you've been putting in toward maybe some sort of educational pursuit or some sort of travel endeavor, travel related endeavor. Maybe you've just been working on restructuring your belief system so they're more in alignment with what you truly value. You've been reflecting on your moral and ethical value systems and letting go of systems that are of religion or philosophical belief that are too rigid or too dogmatic, that feel oppressive in some way. And you're going to start to see the results. You're going to start to be able to really align yourself with your integrity. And people are going to see that. People are going to recognize that. And so the spotlight might be on you at the start of this week. At the very least, you're going to feel energized. You're going to feel lit up. And you're going to feel good in a subjective sort of way, and in an emotional way. A lot of Taurus people will be in a really good mood and a really good solid emotional state. You'll feel comfortable with yourself, with your appearance, with the way that you're showing up in the world. And now's the time for you to focus more on you, your needs, your self-interest, because you've been focusing a lot of energy on relationships. Now it's time to take care of yourself. This is a great time for self-care. This is a great time to do something that feels good in your body, and to focus on that sensory experience. So like get a massage, do something that feels good physically at the start of this week. And then for Gemini and for Gemini rising, so this full moon energy is going to be happening in your 12th house, which is one of the hidden houses. And so you've been having a lot of energy in your 6th house, which is the house of health and daily routines and work. And it's a house that can be kind of difficult to deal with, especially when Mercury's retrograding there. And Mercury being the ruler of your sign and the ruler of your chart, if you are a Gemini rising, this is an important time for you. All Mercury retrogrades are. You've probably been very busy with work and with your day-to-day routine experiences. There's probably been some mishaps, miscommunications, difficulties, things that you've had to revisit and redo, and a flood of communication usually coming in or miscommunication coming in around your work when you have Mercury retrograding in the 6th house. Maybe health concerns have been on your mind and you've been really trying to figure out how to get your health back in order, how to feel your best, and how to deal with the busyness and craziness of your day-to-day experience right now. Mercury Cazimi at the start of this week on Monday can actually help you to get the answers that you're seeking. Maybe you're trying to figure out how to feel your best. If you focus on that at the start of this week and allow the insights to come to you, you'll probably get some really good information that you can carry with you moving forward once Mercury moves direct. If you have to have an important conversation with your employees or with your coworkers, this would be a really great time to do that as well, or to really figure out how to resituate your day-to-day work experience so that way you create better balance and more room for rest, because that's really what this full moon is about. You've been very busy, and at the start of this week, this is time for you to pull back. Maybe take a personal day. Spend time alone. Spend time focusing on your spiritual well-being as opposed to your physical well-being, because that will actually help to create a better balance in your physical experience within your body as well. So, going inward, spending time in solitude, spending time focusing on your intuition, focusing on your spiritual practices, focusing on your creativity, or just being alone and taking yourself out of the world so you can rest. That's going to be a really great way to utilize this energy. This is also a time where on an internal level, you might see the results of a lot of what you've been dealing with these 8th house energies, which is really you having to let go of oppressive energies, really controlling forces in your life, or outdated fears, anxieties that have been burdening you and controlling your behavior from the inside out. And so you might start to actually see that you're feeling better on a subjective internal level as a result of the work you've been putting in there. All right, and then for Cancer and for Cancer rising. So this energy is happening with the full moon in your 11th house of friends. So this is a good energy for Cancer. And in general, this is going to be a great time for relationships for you. With Mercury retrograding in your 5th house, this is not the worst Mercury retrograde for you. It's actually quite positive because especially if you have your rising or sun sign anywhere from 11 to 28 degrees in the sign of Cancer, Mercury is going to be trining your ascendant or your sun at some point during this Mercury retrograde. And so, this is a time where it's time to go back and think about, things that you used to love to do. It's time to reflect on your hobbies, your interests, your passions, the things that bring you joy, and to reintroduce that joy back into your life. And so it's not really a bad time regardless for you. This is a great time for Cancers. If there's something that you've been really dwelling on or focusing on in terms of oppressive, burdensome energies or restructuring, the area of your life associated with marriage, partnership, romantic relationships, or just partnership in general, joint partnership through business, close personal friendships, close personal relationships. Now's a time where you can see some sort of results, especially if you've been working on creating better friendships and stronger, close one-on-one relationships within your social circle. You'll actually get a lot of rewards for that. This would be a really great time if you are in partnership and you've been struggling or having difficulties to take your partner out with a group, to join some sort of seminar or workshop or do some sort of group activity with your friends, because a lot of really positive results can come from that. And you can start to see the results of the work that you've been putting into restructuring your relationship. In general, this is a really great time for socializing. This will be one of the best full moons for you this year for socializing, getting out, going to a party, organizing your own party or some sort of group activity, or reintegrating yourself with the group if you've been sort of out of the social scene for a little while. For Leo and for Leo rising, this full moon energy is happening in your 10th and in your 4th house. And so you've been having a lot of energy around revisiting issues involving the home, family, property. A lot of times when Mercury retrogrades in the 4th house, it's a time of reflection on your roots, on your early childhood experience and the environment you were brought up within, and having to sort of revisit old conversations or old issues around your family and that family experience in childhood is sometimes, something that has to be done, and difficult conversations can be had at this time as a result of that, especially in the sign of Scorpio. And so if you've been focusing a lot on maybe just remodeling your home, reorganizing your home, purging things that you don't need anymore, cleaning out your closets, or, taking stock of your family dynamic and maybe having conversations or revisiting conversations or ideas that require that you revisit them in that area, now's the time where you're going to be kind of thrown back out into the world. So on Monday, you can get some important insight about your family situation or your home or your property situation that you really need in order to move forward with greater clarity, with a better plan, with all of your ducks in a row after Mercury goes direct. And then we're going to be coming to this full moon energy as well, where you're going to be coming back into balance by focusing more attention on your career, your public reputation. You might get some recognition for all of the really super hard work you've been putting in on a day-to-day basis when it comes to your work, right? And the things that you do every single day in order to create that bigger picture when it comes to your career goals and plans. You might have been having to deal with a lot of issues involving employees or coworkers, and now you might start to see results or get recognition for handling those projects or those situations well. Now is a time where maybe an important project that you've been working really hard on will finally come to fruition, and it's time to sort of release it and put it out into the open. And so all of these things are potentials and possibilities, but if you've been working really hard on restructuring your day-to-day work experience so that way it's less oppressive and less burdensome for you, you can start to see some of the physical results of that effort that you've been putting in there. All right, and then for Virgo and for Virgo rising. So for Virgo and for Virgo rising, this full moon energy is actually happening in your 9th house, which is the house of foreign travel, the house of foreign countries, the house of higher educational pursuits. And so you've had Mercury retrograding in your third house of communication. And while this isn't the worst placement for Mercury, it's sextiling your ascendant if you have your ascendant or your sun, anywhere from 28 to 11 degrees in the sign of Virgo. But I've noticed when Mercury retrogrades in the third house, it's a lot more irritating. And nothing horrible or like really crazy usually happens. It's just like a series of really obnoxious miscommunications, errors, technological difficulties, things like that. It's like a Mercury retrograde on steroids because it's in the house associated with mercurial things like short distance travel and communication. And so you've probably been on the receiving end of a lot of communication. There's been a lot of information coming in, and now's a time where you can really take a step back and focus on the bigger picture. What does this all mean? Where is this all going? What are all of these details adding up to when it comes to the grand scheme of things? So now's a really great time for you to maybe take a trip or to just kind of take a step back and gain perspective on things. This is a time to focus more on the bigger picture and the philosophy of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, or the philosophical meaning behind what it is that you're trying to accomplish, instead of focusing on all the little details. And this will help you quite a bit moving forward. And if you've been working on anything that has to do with, travel plans or educational pursuits or connections with people in foreign countries, things of that nature, connections with teachers, now's a time where this can really come to fruition for you and you can start to see some of those results. You could even have some sort of unexpected travel opportunity that comes up for you. With Pluto and Saturn in your fifth house, which is the house of romance and fun and play and hobbies and interests and things that you love to do, and children. You've probably had a lot of burdensome energy that you've been trying to restructure in that area, where play feels a lot more like work right now and romance feels a lot more like work right now. Now's a time where you can start to see some of the results from the work that you've been putting in to take your creative endeavors, to take the things that you love and turn them into something practical. And you can start to see the bigger picture of why you've been working on all of this and what this is all going to create for you moving forward. And, letting go of that oppressive energy, what that will really make room for in your life moving forward. All right, and then for Libra and for Libra rising. So for Libra rising so you've been having a lot of focus around finances. So with Mercury retrograding in your second house, there's money's on your mind. I mean, that's the biggest thing, where you've been probably thinking and rethinking and reevaluating your budget, and maybe you've had old bills coming back up that you forgot about, or old financial issues that you thought you resolved that now you have to go back and renegotiate or talk about, or replan or reorganize or recalculate in some sort of way. A lot of times when Mercury retrogrades in the second house or in the eighth house, so that would be for the Aries people too, you'll get like random bills for things from like years ago that like, I paid that already, or what is this even? I've noticed that being a thing for sure. And so that could be something that you're dealing with right now. But now's the time to sort of step back from that. At the start of this week, you can gain some sort of perspective or important insight about your financial situation and how to move forward with greater clarity. And then as we come into this full moon, it's going to be less about focusing on the material and more about focusing on your inner world. It's going to be going deeper and getting to the core issues behind any financial insecurities or financial instabilities in your life. This is also a time where it's kind of like a time for you to feel more empowered, because you're going to address your fears and anxieties around really anything that feels like it's out of control in your life right now. And you're going to be able to do that a lot more easily. If you've been working on getting to the bottom of something really important involving your home, your family dynamic, letting go of oppressive energy in the home or within your family unit, now's a time where you can start to see some results. And those results will probably be more non-physical, unless they're related to joint finances or some sort of inheritance from a family member, in which case they'll be a little bit more physical. All right. So for Scorpio rising, so this is kind of your time too. So Scorpio rising people, Scorpio sun sign people, especially, I mean, if you guys have your sun, moon rising anywhere from that 11 to 28 degrees where Mercury will be retrograding, this is a time where you've been sort of reevaluating your goals, the way you present yourself in life, your self-image, and the way that you portray yourself when it comes to your interactions with people. Thinking about who you really are, what your identity is in this lifetime, and how you carry that forward or project it outwardly. Taking reevaluating your image. This is not a good time to get a makeover, though. It's a good time to think about it. Like, what kind of haircut do I want? What kind of makeup? What type of clothing do I want to wear? That type of thing, but not like, don't go out and do it unless you're a natal Mercury retrograde person. If you're a Scorpio rising, a lot of Scorpio risings probably want to go out and like cut their bangs or something. I know that I want to like go get my hair done, but Mercury's in retrograde, and I'm a Scorpio rising. But anyway, so it's a good time to like reevaluate these types of things and think about who you are and the way you're presenting yourself out in the world. But it's not necessarily a good time to make major changes in that area. But whatever it is you've been reflecting on in terms of your body, the health of your body, your self-image, or your orientation or general direction in life, this Mercury Cazimi time on Monday would be a really great time for you to sit back and reflect and gain insight. And somebody might even deliver an important message to you very personally on Monday morning that could be a game changer for you in some way. In addition to this, you're going to have this really incredible full moon that'll be happening in Taurus. So you've been focusing a lot on you. Now it's time to focus on other people, the people that you care about most, focusing on your relationships, especially if you're married or if you're in some sort of romantic partnership. Now is a good time to focus on your partner. A lot of really good things can come as a result of this, or it can just feel good and be a very good sensual experience for you if that's what you're aiming for. So go out and have a date night. Communicate with your partner. This is an important time also where you can have those deep conversations or those important conversations that you've been needing to have in partnership with either your marriage partner, a business partner, somebody who you relate with one-on-one on a regular basis, where you need to revisit something and you need to really bring it out there. That oppressive energy with Pluto and Saturn in your third house is having you sort of reevaluate your mindset around a lot of things in life. You've been having a lot of heavy energy around communication, marketing, around, short distance travel, vehicles maybe. But also this is just in general communication or some sort of educational pursuit maybe that you've been really working hard on. Now's a time where maybe you can collaborate with somebody else in order to carry forward the results of all of the hard work that you've been putting in this area. And so that's something that you can think about too, collaboration, connections with other people, especially if you're reintegrating that person. If it's somebody who you've connected with in the past and you're sort of reconnecting with them in some way. All right, for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, this full moon is happening in your 6th house, and so you have a lot of 12th and 6th house energy. With Mercury retrograding in your 12th house, there's been a lot of like introspection, wanting to pull away from the world, wanting to just kick back and relax and do nothing, to just get out of the day-to-day busyness of everyday life. And that's completely okay. This is a really important, intuitive, introspective time for Sagittarius that's very much needed for you, especially as you're sort of building up to your reset. With your cosmic reset, with your solar return if you're a Sagittarius sun sign, or with the sun hitting your ascendant if you are a Sagittarius rising. And if you are a Sagittarius sun sign, your sun sign forecast, which is a 2-hour forecast, is now available for immediate download. The link is down in the description below. We go really in depth into all of the major energies for your year ahead, for your solar return and beyond. And it's an interesting year for Sagittarius. I did a shorter sort of preview version of that video for free that you can find last week as well. So go back and watch that if you haven't already done so, Sagittarius. But anyway, you're getting ready for that reset. You're getting ready for that time where you're about to have this solar rebirth. You're kind of in a more introspective time naturally because you're reflecting on what's gone on for you throughout the previous year. This is a more internalized spiritual time where you might even be forced into seclusion or forced to take a step away from the day-to-day reality of life. And that's really what you've been focusing on. And so I would say that early Monday morning would be a great time for meditation. It'd be a great time for dreams. It'd be a great time for journaling and writing and things like that, because really important messages might come through, especially around things you need to revisit and bring back into your reality. But the other thing that's going to be going on here is that you're going to have this full moon that's a really powerful, beautiful energy in your 6th house of work, especially if you've been working on dealing with and letting go of oppressive, burdensome energies around your finances or the way that you create resources. You might actually start to see some sort of results, especially in your day-to-day work experience, or in your relationship with your coworkers. Maybe you'll be recognized by your coworkers or the people that work for you, your employees or something like that, for some sort of project or something that you did for them, right, on their behalf. Maybe, you've been working on letting go of some sort of oppressive energy and you'll be rewarded for that. Your day-to-day work routine might become easier as a result. You might see some positive health effects also of maybe changing your diet, because the 2nd house does have that association with food, restricting your diet, detoxing in some sort of way. You might see some positive aspect of that come through the health of your body, and also through the spiritual work that you've been doing and the rest that you've been taking. You might start to feel reborn and revitalized. And so you might see results in that way as well. All right, and then for Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this is a good week for you. You guys have had, one of the hardest times this year with the astrology, just because you've had Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node in your sign. I'm sure you're more than aware at this point that that's been going on, and it will continue to go on for a few more months. Now is a time where you can actually see some really positive results from all of the hard work that you've been putting in, where you can not only take some time to revisit your social life a little bit, especially on Monday. I mean, in general too, you've been having Mercury retrograde in your 11th house. It's time to reintegrate socialization and connecting with groups of people and with your friends and people that you surround yourself with by choice. Maybe revisit an organization that you're a part of in the past. Maybe you've just been socializing a lot more and reconnecting with people that you've been maybe neglecting in your life because you've been so busy and so burdened and working so hard, and you've been feeling this weight of responsibility because you're going through that cosmic reset. You're going through that cosmic purge. You're letting go of anything that's not you anymore. This is a time where you can find yourself through your communications with your group, with your tribe, with the people that you surround yourself with by choice, because they're your friends. And so that can help you to find yourself and figure out who you are and what you're trying to build from that moving forward. And Monday morning is a really great time for you to get that insight or to connect or reach out to that group. But, the results that you're going to see this week are going to be more about you having fun. So you've maybe been neglecting that area of your life because of all of the effort and all of the hard work and all of the responsibility and that weight you've been feeling. And so your friends might actually push you out there to do something that you really enjoy, especially if you're revisiting something that a hobby from the past or something that you used to really love to do, or maybe even an old romance or something comes back around and feels really fun for you. But this is a great week, especially at the start of this week, to just do something for fun. Don't worry so much about, having to work hard and do this and that and dealing with all these oppressive energies. Try to shift your focus. Focus on whatever it is in your life that brings you joy. Focus on play. Focus on playing with your children if you have any. That's a really great energy too. You can have really great things that come through your children or through engaging with children this week as well. And so it's a powerful week for that. It's a powerful week for just finding joy, and it's one of the better weeks for Capricorns this year, really. All right. And for Aquarius and Aquarius rising, so this energy with the full moon is happening in your 4th house. The Mercury retrograde and the Sun has been transiting Scorpio in your 10th, and so there's probably been a lot of revising, re-editing, going back and redoing old projects, a lot of miscommunications, mishaps, a lot of busyness with work. And so that's where you've been focusing. If you've had some sort of issue with work that you've been stuck on, or if there's an important communication with like a boss or somebody in a position of power and authority, or some sort of communication or like written communication or marketing sort of thing that you need to do for your business or for your work, that you're revisiting and reintegrating in some sort of way, Now's a really great time on Monday to get that important insight, or to send that email, or make that call that you've been needing to make. As we move into especially Tuesday, I mean, Monday, this is part of it too, Monday through Wednesday, but especially on Tuesday, you'll be kind of pulling back from your work a little bit more and coming into balance by focusing on your family, focusing on what goes on after work, your place of living, your immediate surroundings. Focusing on what do you want after you come home from work, right? What do you want that to look at? What do you want your personal or to look like? What do you want your personal life to look like outside of what you're doing, out in the world? At the very least, this is a really great time for you to spend some time at home, spend some time just focusing on your roots, spend some time with your family, call your parents, that type of thing. It might yield more positive results than it normally would. So that's a really great thing for Aquarius to do. Revisit your roots. Come back home, come back down to earth, right? Focus on your emotional comfort zones. That's another sort of important energy. Nurture yourself in the home, or do something creative within your home environment, or just enjoy the material comforts in your home environment. Or maybe indulge in buying something, nice. I would say buying something old or sort of revamping something in your home environment might be a little bit better, but enjoying the material pleasures within your home, I mean, that would be a really great way to utilize this energy too. There has been a lot of energy around spending more time in solitude, seclusion, letting go of a lot of things in your life. You're in kind of an ending, wrapping up phase on sort of a more grander scale right now. And so if you've been working on letting things go and releasing old oppressive energies in your life, just kind of on a general level, because you're preparing for the cosmic reset of Saturn hitting your ascendant next year, now's a time where you can see some of the positive results on an emotional level, on the family level, and when it comes to what goes on behind the scenes in your world. All right, and then Pisces and Pisces rising. So for Pisces and Pisces rising, this full moon is a really nice one for you guys. I mean, this whole Mercury retrograde is nice for you guys because it's in your 9th house. So, of course, yeah, there can be mishaps and issues involving foreign travel and especially long distance travel, or travel by plane somewhere, or connections with people in foreign countries, or having to revisit something with your education or with something you've learned in the past. But for the most part, this is going to help you in a lot of ways. It's going to be experienced more positively than other Mercury retrogrades would, especially if you are somebody who has your Pisces rising or sun sign, or even your moon anywhere between 11 and 28 degrees where Mercury is going to be retrograding. Now is a time where you're really reevaluating your beliefs, your moral and ethical value systems, your beliefs about God, the universe, the world around you, and the way you connect with those beliefs, and connect those beliefs to your identity and the way that you show up in the world, the way that you project your energy through your personality, through the way that you engage with life. And so this is a time where you're sort of reflecting on your integrity, right? What do you deeply value? What do you deeply hold true? And how do you present yourself in relationship to those values? So that's kind of where the focus has been. There might have been and so you can actually, this would be actually a really great time for some sort of religious or spiritual contemplation, or some sort of religious study, or philosophical study of some kind on Monday morning, where you can get some really great epiphanies or insights that can really help you to understand things much more deeply and completely when it comes to what you value and what you believe. But as we come into the full moon as well, you're kind of coming back into balance. You're focusing a little less on the bigger picture, that broader philosophical perspective on life, and focusing a little bit more on your day-to-day communications. You might feel supported by your community in some way at the start of this week. You might get some really supportive, loving communication that comes through, or an important message that comes through, especially pertaining to groups of people. If you've been having a lot of hardship or difficulty, or having to purge and sort of detox the area of friends and group associations over the past year or so, now is a time where you can see some sort of positive results, or you can have better, more positive, more supportive communication with the friends that you've kept around, because those friendships are valuable to you. You're only keeping the friendships that are deeply, truly loyal and valuable right now, and that are going to withstand the test of time. And if you're creating new friendships, those are the friendships that you're creating. valuable friendships, loyal friendships, deep, intimate connections with people, not just like having, you know, friends all over the place right now. It's kind of like a few people that you can really trust. In either case, you might see that these people really support you. You might have some really supportive, loving communication that comes in that helps you feel protected and cared for in some way through your friendships, through your group associations this week. This is a really great time also for networking and just connecting with people in general for business or for marketing purposes, if that's something that's applicable to you. But this is a great time for communication for you. You know, with that Mercury Cazimi, Mercury is in retrograde, so maybe revisiting communication or maybe revisiting an old idea or something like that within, you know, a group, or revisiting an old group association could be part of it. But, you know, really in general, communication is going to be experienced positively, at least at the start of this week. All right. And so that is my forecast for all 12 signs. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video and you felt like it had value, be sure to like it, to share it with your friends if you feel like they could benefit from the insight, and subscribe to my channel so you never miss a weekly forecast. And make sure to follow me on Instagram, you guys. I'm doing a lot more with my Instagram, and I post weekly astro highlights there, and on my blog I share different things going on astrologically throughout the week, and so you can get more of your like astrology fix over there. And my handle is @astrology with Heather. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.